Hey, y'all. Here we go with another series. This one is called Stronger. Have y'all ever seen the game show Wipeout? It's a show where brave people compete for the chance to win $50,000 by getting mildly injured in really embarrassing ways on national television. I used to watch it all the time. It was one of my favorite shows. I really loved it. It's like one of the few clean things on TV, you know? So, anyway, I don't think y'all, and I definitely have not, ever been injured on national television, but I'm guessing that at least a few of us have injured ourselves in embarrassing ways before, right? There's this one time I was in college and I went on a double date with one of my roommates, her boyfriend, and the guy that they were trying to set me up with. We were on this beautiful bridge in Chattanooga. We had just gone to dinner. We were having a great time. It was really fun. So we were on this beautiful walking bridge in Chattanooga, and sometimes, I tend to get a little over animated in conversation, and this was one of those times. And so much so was I over animated that I walked face first into a big, gigantic iron light post. It smashed me in the side of the face, and it knocked me backwards off my feet. I was absolutely mortified, of course. My pride was crushed, and it hurt, like really, really hurt. I ended up with almost a black eye. I had this bruise down the side of my face. And no, I did not ever go on a date with that guy again. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But anyway, I have to be honest though. As far as life is concerned, I've had even more painful moments. And I'm not necessarily talking about physical injuries. There have been times in life when I've experienced some really painful failure, hurt, loss, and pain. And maybe y'all know what that's like. A friend of mine died today. A really dear friend. A man who was a mentor and a parent figure in my childhood. Somebody who taught me to love myself and not be afraid of failure. The last time I saw him back in September of last year, he begged me to come down to Augusta to have dinner with him and his family. I told him I would. I never did. Now I never can. In life, loss and failure is unavoidable. If you haven't already experienced this, there will be a day when you encounter hard times and unfortunate circumstances. I don't say that to scare you or to be a downer. I say it because when it happens, I want to know that you're prepared. Sometimes the pain we experience happens because of something we do or something we fail to do. Maybe you've failed a grade. Maybe you failed ninth grade. Maybe you failed algebra. I don't know. Maybe you didn't make the team, the football team, the soccer team, the softball team, whatever. Maybe you've lost a friend because of something you said or you did. Or maybe you've gotten your phone taken away because you were a total jerk to your parents. Sometimes the pain we experience happens because of something that's not our fault, though. Maybe someone you love dies. Maybe you or someone close to you gets sick or injured. Maybe your parents get a divorce, or you have to move away from all your friends, or maybe something even more traumatic happens. Whether it's because of us or something we do, or because of someone else, or just because of no reason at all, sometimes life goes wrong. For the next few weeks, like I told you, we're starting this new series called Stronger, and we're going to talk about what to do when life starts to hurt, and about the joy we can find even in the midst of really terrible pain. We'll talk about how God can use the hardest moments of our lives to make us stronger, to make our faith stronger, and to show us that God is stronger than anything life can ever throw at us. But before we talk about what God has to say about life going wrong, let's talk about what life looks like when it goes right. In the very beginning, God created everything, and everything God created was good. I want you to open your Bibles with me. I'm in Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. In the beginning, life was good. There was no conflict. There was no suffering. There was no death. Life was exactly how God intended it to be. It was right. But everything changed when Adam and Eve chose to disobey God and sin entered the world. For the first time, there was conflict, death, and suffering, and things had gone wrong. I'm still in Genesis, this time in chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. To Adam, God said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate fruit from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life." Sin created consequences that we can't escape. We carry the effects of sin in our own heart, and the world we live in carries its effects as well. Because of sin, we make choices we're not proud of. It's difficult to do what's good. It's easy to do what's destructive. Our relationships with others are complicated. Our relationship with God is strained. The world we live in is broken. As long as we live on this earth in these bodies, there will be failure, there will be pain, and there will be loss. Although failure, pain, and loss are unavoidable because of sin, that's not the end of the story, praise the Lord. Sin has caused so much hurt and so much pain in this world. Y'all, but Jesus redeems what's gone wrong. That means he turns wrongs into right. He exchanges evil for good. He takes back control. He breathes life into what was dead, and he makes old things new. When we experience pain because of our own sin and mistakes, Jesus says, "I can redeem you. My grace is sufficient for you. You're never too far gone to be rescued." I'm going to read now from Colossians chapter 1. Y'all read with me, verses 13 and 14. "For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption and the forgiveness of sins." In our sin, we've done wrong, and the wrong we do causes hurt and pain, both for us and for others. But Jesus came to rescue and redeem us from our own wrongs. And that's not all. I'm still in Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 to 20. "The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross." Y'all, Jesus came to redeem you and me, but he also came to redeem everything, every wrong, every pain, every situation. He can redeem it all. When we experience pain because we live in a broken world full of suffering and loss, Jesus says, "Someday I'll redeem everything. I'll restore the whole world and right every wrong." When we experience pain for any reason at all, Jesus says, "I can redeem what's gone wrong. In my hands, any pain you've suffered can take on new life." Because Jesus is a redeemer both now and forever, our hurt can always become hope. We can trust that Jesus will redeem the whole world someday, and that he can redeem any situation right now. Whatever it is, y'all, whatever it is, Jesus can redeem what's gone wrong. Okay, so that might sound good, but what does it mean exactly? When we're in the middle of our pain and our hurt, how can Jesus help? So much of our pain and our hurt is caused by our own sin. If we want real transformation, we need Jesus to redeem us before we ask him to redeem our situations. Just like Jesus can redeem us, Jesus can redeem our painful situations and turn our greatest losses into our greatest victories. But that transformation doesn't just happen. That transformation requires our participation. In my experience, in my vast experience, quite frankly, there are 3 ways that people tend to respond to the pain and the hurt that they experience in life. So let's imagine we have really hot, boiling water. And that hot, boiling water represents failure, loss, or whatever difficulty weighs on you. Think about which of these following items you are and which one you hope to be. So here, I have a carrot. It's a baby carrot, but it's a carrot. A carrot starts out tough, strong, vibrant, beautiful, and orange. But when hot water hits it, what happens? It turns soft. After a while, it gets mushy, and then it starts to lose some of its color. Eventually, it falls apart. Does this sound like you? When life gets painful, do you start to fall apart? Do you let difficulty make you weak, anxious, insecure, or uncertain about the future? Or are you more like an egg? When eggs meet hot water, they harden. With enough time, they become very tough and inflexible, and they're kind of smelly. Does this sound like you? When life gets painful, does your heart get hard and bitter? Do you let difficulty make you angry, selfish, suspicious, or unforgiving? But then we have coffee. Sorry, this is the kind of coffee I use in my house. I recycle, don't worry. What if you were able to face difficulty in a different way? What if Jesus could help you endure hot water more like coffee beans? When coffee meets hot water, the water releases the very best parts of the coffee beans. In hot water, the flavor, aroma, and richness of the coffee beans deeper and grow stronger with time. Does this sound like the kind of person you want to be? When life gets painful, what would it look like for your faith and character to grow stronger, deeper, and richer? How do you think Jesus could redeem your difficulty in a way that helps you become a better version of yourself? No matter what kind of hot water you find yourself in, Jesus can redeem what's gone wrong. But you do have to invite him in to be part of that process, especially if you want to be like coffee. I do. So will you let your pain make you fall apart? Will you let it make you hard and bitter? Or will you let Jesus redeem your situation? Will you let him make your faith and character stronger through difficulty? So I told you earlier about the death of my friend Richard today. I failed him and myself by not making time for him and not going down to visit. No, I had no idea that I would never see him alive again. But I should have gone to visit. But even amidst the darkness and the sadness of Richard's death and my sadness of not seeing him one more time, I rest in the brilliant memories of him in my life. The memories of his encouragement and strength to do things that I never thought I was able to do. The absolute law he laid down in teaching me to love myself and believe that I had gifts from God that had to be used. The pure joy in knowing him and how God works through him in the lives of so many people. It hurts now, but I know that Richard is home with Jesus and I can rest in that peace. peaceful. It's easy in painful situations to let pain and hurt control you, believe me. But when you choose to trust that Jesus can redeem what's gone wrong, well, it changes everything. Instead of lashing out at others when you're hurt, you can let your pain bring you closer to the people who love you. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you can be thankful for your opportunity to grow and have grown through this difficulty. Instead of focusing on worst case scenarios, you could focus on what God is doing in and through you. Instead of getting angry at God, you can trust that Jesus can redeem your hurt. I don't know what it is in your lives that's causing pain or hurt right now. I don't know how you failed or how life has failed you. But I know Jesus sees what has gone wrong, and he desperately wants to show you what his power to redeem really looks like. If you need Jesus to redeem you because you know your sin is the biggest cause of your own hurt and pain, he can do that. He can redeem you. If you need Jesus to redeem your circumstances because life is really hard right now, he can do that too. He can redeem any difficulty for good. I know life can be painful and difficult sometimes. But I hope that you guys will remember that none of it is beyond God's ability to redeem. No matter what you're going through, Jesus can redeem what's gone wrong. You just have to invite him to be part of it. I do ask you, my friends, today to pray for Richard's family as they struggle through this really difficult time. And of course, the rest of us who are touched by his life, by the blessing of God's work through him. And just pray for so many people who don't understand. Richard died of COVID. So many people are really struggling to understand. I had COVID. I was mildly sick. So it's just kind of crazy to see that there are a few people who are mildly sick and there are a few people who die. And there's just really extreme differences between so many different cases. And so many people are struggling to understand. And scientists and doctors are struggling to understand how all this works. And so just continue to pray for that. 2020 has been a terrible year in so many ways. But instead of focusing on the negative parts of what has happened this year, let's continue to pray. Let's invite God into our hearts and into our lives as we struggle through these things so that we can become stronger and so that we can seek him and we can seek his guidance and his wisdom in all of these things. I pray that you do that, my friends. I look forward to seeing you soon. I love you. See you later.